the ladies in the place with style and grace. Allow me to lace these lyrical douches in the bushes.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 9. Let me put it properly here. Episode 9 of Make It in Dubai. This is me, Vignesh, and you have Shivank either on the right or your left as usual.
Hi guys, it's been a long time we didn't record, so let's getting back on the zone.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we had to attend to, but we somehow found the time, and here we are. So, Shiv, this time I feel like, we've always told them you can make it in Dubai, you can make it in Dubai through your work, you can make it in Dubai through meeting people from different networks, you can make it in Dubai through hard work, smart work, so much different stuff we spoke about. We've given them so many different ways they can analyze, so many different paths that they can take, right? Entrepreneurship, right? But one thing which I've learned, I think I was telling you about this as well, but I think it's time we share it to the world. How do you know if you're someone who wants to make it in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, let's say this is apparently a common problem that's going on, which is everyone wants to be their role model. For example, people who follow Dana White, like me, I follow the UFC president because I feel like he's created one of the best organizations in the world. Then I want to follow your David Goggins, your Joe Rogans, and yeah, I don't want to name more figures because I always follow controversial figures. So I don't want to name them. But one thing that Patrick Patrick Bet David, right? He mentioned something which got me thinking, and I thought we should discuss this in this podcast. He said something which goes in the lines of people want to become their role models, but they don't want to have their work ethics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens there is when you don't have the work ethic of your role model, you keep comparing yourself to your role model and it eats you up alive and you'll never feel happy, right?
Okay.
So, what PBD suggests is you need to sit down, have a talk with yourself, and see if that is the life path you want to take. If you have it in you to put that kind of a work ethic or work output, right? So, for example, the reason why this resonated with me so much is because I was already doing something similar to this. I think you did as well, but we just never quantified it in terms of words that, okay, this is something that we are doing or we want to do. What do you think?
I think it's a bit different in this sense, right? But since you mentioned right now, looking at role models, like the comparison part, right? I don't know. It might be different for me because when I look at the role models, in a sense, I don't compare with them. I try to see whatever they inspire me to do X, Y, Z. And once I reach that X, Y, Z, after that, I find somebody else to look up to. So that keeps happening for me. I don't go in the comparison mindset. If that's what you meant, maybe that's a different way of looking at it. But for me, it's more like, okay, when I see something for the first time from someone, and I was like, fuck, this is something I never thought of this way. And then I start consuming that content, I start understanding things. And after that, after some time, I apply stuff. Maybe 50% stuff didn't work out. I'm like, okay, 50% worked out. After that, I know there's the same repurposing of content happening. So after that, I move on to somebody else who I actually find out. So that's how it is for me.
That is one way of you getting knowledge. I meant someone who is living your dream life at this point. Like for me, example, Dana White is living the dream life that I want, running an organization, not giving a fuck about what anyone else is thinking. If
Okay.
someone comes and says this is what's happening in the organization, he's like, it's mine, right?
Hmm.
I'll do whatever I want. If there's an issue, bring it up to me. And he confronts the problem head on.
Hmm.
That's something I love about him, right? So I want to be that character, and that is who I am.
Hmm.
But now I'm trying to make sure I become more of Dana White, right? It's not like an imposter syndrome or something where I'm trying to be Dana White myself. No,
Hmm.
I'm still being Vignesh, but I'm trying to learn the best out of Dana White and anyone I follow. But these are the people that are living my dream life, right? So I'm
Hmm.
not. I'm looking at different individuals, but I'm looking at the common lifestyles they have and the common points they're at. So
Okay.
for me to reach that common wavelength, do I have the work ethic? Do I have the discipline? Do I have the mindset? Do I have the hard work? Do I have the creativity? Amongst all that, do I have the talent? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I've told you this before, right? I was swimming like competitively, like my aim was to reach the Olympics and tattoo of the Olympic rings on my ribs and all that. I was telling you, right? That's what I wanted to do. But after a point, I had to be self-aware and realize that okay, maybe that might not be my dream, right? Maybe I might not be able to make it. So what can I do? So at that point, you can either choose to have an identity crisis, thinking, "Shit, what am I going to do from now on? Am I good at this? Oh my god, I'm not. I don't know what to do." Or you can sit and have that harsh conversation with yourself. Again, this conversation will give you a clarity, and you can be in peace with yourself after that. So let me try explaining it in a way, right? So, for example, right now, when I was in university, I always knew that I wanted to live a lifestyle of private jets and yachts and villas and beachfront villas and yeah, it's a beautiful lifestyle. Of course, I wanted to have a disciplined lifestyle, but I wanted to enjoy the luxury, the materialistic part of it as well. But the kind of people that were working, they were working 16-hour days, they're working 14-hour days. No, I don't say the longer you work, the better it is, but no, I'm talking about the work ethic they had, the discipline they had. If they had to go sleep at 9:30, they go sleep at 9:30. They had to wake up at 5:30, they wake up at 5:30, right? That kind of stuff. Now, I had to sit and have a conversation with myself saying, okay, what is the lifestyle like of Dana White? Or what is the lifestyle like of any of the big people I follow? Okay, they do this, they do that. They don't have a 9 to 5 job. They do things differently. Okay, they have an advantage geographically. There's that, blah blah blah, whatever it is. Now, me as Vignesh, what do I have in my hand? What are the resources I have in my hand that can make me get close to him? Now, do I want to take problems that's not mine? This is something which I want to dive a bit deep into as well, which we'll discuss a bit more. But the foundation of that goes: do I have to take problems that are not mine? Two, do I have to push myself? Do I have to push myself and going through stress compared to a normal human being who's happy to work 8 hours a day? Now, I used to shit on people who want to just work 8 hours a day and live their life. I used to shit on them because I used to think, what kind of a life is that, man? There's no purpose to it. There's no meaning to that kind of life. Like how can they even be happy? Now, what I realized was there's a quote by Will Smith in Pursuit of Happiness. Those who say they can and those who say they can't are both usually right. Right? Now, I never understood the meaning of that quote, but then I was like, now it makes sense because now there are individuals who say, you know what, I can't be great. I can't be awesome. That is not my life. I'm just here to be happy, do my 8 hours of work, go party, go chill, go blow my money. That's who I am. They're at peace with it. They're at peace with it, right? Good for them. Now, you can sit and think, oh my God, that person has no life or anything, but they've chosen. They're self aware about what they can do, what they can't do. Good for them. You don't have to shit on them. That's the lifestyle they've chosen. But we are doing this podcast for the people that want to push the boundaries, that want to create a legacy behind their name or their family name, or that want to create money, or that want to make it. They want to create history. That's the kind of people we are going after, right? That's the kind of people we want to be as well. So for us, for this group of people in this spectrum, we have to ask the questions as to what is our limit, right? What is the maximum I can push myself, right? I can give you a certain criteria for that as to what are the kind of questions I've asked for myself to make sure that this is the life I want to lead, right? But before I just continue, I just wanted to know: have you ever done something similar where you've questioned, is this stress or is this something I want to take? Because we both live a different life.
So I have couple of stories. I have a way of thinking about this where I have met couple of people. I mean, I'll give an example. So Nadir, right? Like there's a friend which I have where I was talking to him about this, and he mentioned that when he was a kid, okay, he should be, I'm not sure, roughly 13 or 12 or 13, something around that, and then he got access to those Nokia phones which can record video. And at that time, YouTube was very new, the whole internet was very new, so he started filming a lot of stuff. His friends are recording a lot of stuff. Right now, what is there in TikTok is basically that pre-TikTok era. They were recording some stuff of just guys, fucking around or doing whatever, what is happening. So he used to record and put on YouTube. I mean, it used to get slight traction, but he's like, that's how I understood how to record a video, how to upload on YouTube, how this whole title things work, what to give that. So he didn't know why he was doing it. He had access to the tool, and then from there, just curiosity driving him to do that whole part. So that is one part of the story. Now, even for me, I had access to the computer which my parents got from my sister. She never used that. She also had access to that. She just got it for society's sake, that I mean, is there, and I have a PC. Friends, I can say to my friends, PC is there. But what happened is I got more curious into it, and I started doubling down on that. I should like looking at the web and trying to see what is website, what is X, what is Z. So I think one part of it is naturally in us. Okay, there's like the second part is you can develop it a bit more, or you can start developing it. So the first part, let's say when you have it already in you, you need to see where it's clicking. Because for me, maybe it clicked when I got the computer and the internet happened. I started exploring more. But let's say if I had to relive that part, and I have to think about how can I do this whole thing. I understood that it wasn't me all by myself trying to figure it out. There was a friend of mine who introduced me to the internet. There was a dial-up modem he connected on his home, and he got me that same thing. There was a friend who I had as a kid who was doing all of these extremely different stuff, and just because I was in a circle, he introduced me to, let's say, internet. He introduced me to the PC thing. He introduced me to, I don't know, whatever games we used to play. He introduced me to even opening the circuits of different electronics and try to remove them and try to play around with them. We try to make our own robots. It never happened, but we try to build a lot of stuff. So that itself got me into a lot of stuff. Hacking happened that way. He left all of these stuff now. Like I got into so much stuff, but so I doubled down on these, but I had reference point. Someone was doing it, and that's how the curiosity developed. So either you have it in you already, or this is like, why are you smiling? Like what's the what's the
You just admit in a public forum that you people.
No, I mean this is very ethical hacking stuff. This is not like this is and this is more of a kid thing. I don't do it anymore. There are
Busy.
more stories to that as well. There are a lot of stories I have about that, how I used to do it and what
Cops are
happened.
coming after you, mate.
But yeah, so what I was trying to say is that either you have it by yourself, or there's someone who brings it up and shows you a different side, and you just get hooked onto something. So what you get hooked onto is the part. So business can be something you get hooked into, or you can get hooked into, let's say, cooking. It's not about business, but it's still you're hooked into something else.
That's true.
So I think that whole part of you mentioning that whole quote from Will Smith justifies this part, that it depends where you get hooked, and not everybody is in same in that sense.
That's true. Exactly. That's one. But what I'm trying to reiterate is, even let's say you got hooked onto a computer and you wanted to dive a bit deeper into it, see what you can do, what you can't do, and everything, right? Now the question is, when you decide that, okay, I want to make a living out of it, you question. The question is, did you question yourself, saying, do I have it in me to pursue this?
Okay. I think that do you have it in me is not exactly the question, because I mean you can describe your part as well, but for me, that do I have it in me wasn't the question, because I started doing that stuff, and it was just like it's play for me. It's not like work. So when that started happening, you understand that. So it's tough to understand that. First of all, you need a lot of checks and reference point. Like you mentioned a couple of pointers as well, right? About having those lists. I think that's very useful, because I actually went through that. There's this guy I used to follow called Gary Vaynerchuk. He's pretty famous. I mean, people might know him now, but
Yeah.
back then he didn't have much following. I started following him, and he mentioned something which actually helped me in the beginning. He said, strengths and weakness, get that list, think of whatever you have. I was in university, dude. I was like, what strength do I have? What weakness do I have? I didn't know myself. So I tried my best to come up with something. And then he said that whatever you see in the weakness part, people will say to work on it and improve it. And he said, fuck that. Don't do it. Focus on your strength, double that down, and make sure the weakness part you can survive on the bare minimum. Don't try to fix it at all. Because that is not gonna help a lot. At this stage of life, you can keep doubling down on your strength and try to maximize that part. So that's a different perspective. Okay, that at the beginning is what I try to be more self-aware about. Okay, these are my strengths. How can I double down on these? Maybe to make more money, to get more audience or whatever came in. I try to go on that. This is how I build my whatever I'm doing right now. So digital marketing came in. I try to double down on a lot of things. So that's the first step which I took to understand this part. How was it for you though?
No, so the thing is, for me, right, the model I had was a completely different one. So I first to see if, okay, I know I wanted the life of a private jet. I know I wanted the life of a billionaire. I know I want the life of people looking up to me for something, right? I'm going to be very honest and brutal about it. I'm not going to hide. Everything I do, I want people to look up to me. Now, for me, I realized that for people to look up to me, I needed to give certain value to it. If I don't provide a value as a human being, no one's going to look up to me. So why would someone listen to this podcast? Why would someone fucking listen to Vignesh or Shivank? Either because one, they think, okay, these guys are providing value to me, which I can use to grow myself, or two, I have nothing. I never knew this part of the world exists, and these guys are showing me something of it. Same, right? Now, if same with Andrew Tate. Why does Andrew Tate have a following? Yeah, he can have his haters, he can have his people who follow him, his fans and everything. But at the end of the day, he has people that look up to him because of the value he gives up, right? It can be anyone. I know a lot of people who I myself, follow him. Doesn't matter. I'll be openly. I mean, I don't completely agree with him, but like I said, 75% is not wrong. So now that question, then I had to ask that question to myself. Okay, these are the kind of things I want to do. So now coming up to you, right? Now you said, yeah, you're getting hooked on to a different stuff, this and that. That's a completely different thing. What
Yeah.
I'm focusing on is now, let's say you look up to people like Sampar and Shan Puri and stuff, and you say, I want to become like them.
I'll tell you what I so since I understood what you're trying to say over here. So
Hmm.
let's say you understand what kind of lifestyle you want, or you see these figures and you want to see, like, you want that part as well, is
Yeah.
what you're saying, right?
Hmm.
For me, that's where it's a bit different. It doesn't pull me. That part doesn't pull me in. I tell you why. Because I try to ask myself, like, why am I not getting pulled by these kind of stuff? Right? The value part, I agree. I actually want to give out value and make sure people's life get better. But that part never happened. Like in sense of replicating, let's say, the private jet lifestyle or whatever. I asked, like, why is it not happening that way? So I realized that as a kid, right, I haven't been in that situation in a sense. I'll give you an example where, let's say, even my dad, right, uh, even though whatever role he got into, the higher he went, he kept the same car for like 15, 20 years, bro. Imagine. So he never upgraded to those cars. And even the people who used to, like, the workers who used to work over there, they used to have extremely fancy cars when they used to come in the office. And they used to think that this is some fuck all guy, in a sense that, for them, it was like, what? I have made more stuff than this fucker. Because in their mind, they try to see it that way. So my dad went in a different angle from there, where he tried to build that wealth and try to sustain in a the turbulence environment. I think indirectly that got into me.
Hmm.
So I see this happening. I mean, I saw this happening, but it's my mom who told me the story as well, and then it connected the dots for me as a kid. So after that, right now when I see things, it doesn't attract me in a way, because now I know the reality. Before that, I was like, man, you can still get the car. But now when I see the two sides of the world, now I'm like, you know what? I don't mind having the same car. People shit on me. They don't think I have money, but I have money. Now I know if I want to back someone over there right now, I can back him up. I think this is where it changed a bit for me, and it's not the same thing. I tried it. I tried. Tim Ferriss has a book called 4 Hour Work Week, in which he says that, imagine, you have to live your dream lifestyle. Okay,
Okay.
in terms of the car, like, imagine in terms of what car are you driving, where are you staying, is it a beach house, whatever it is. The moment you set out your foot outside, what is the locality like? Do all of these things, put out a number on all of these stuff, like monthly how much expenses coming. That's your dream cost of living. Okay, and this, you can make it a bit easier for you to achieve based on the geo arbitrage. Like he says, you can go to, let's say, Indonesia to stay or Bali to stay. He has a different perspective, on these parts. So I actually made that list just to see how much it is, but it didn't give me that pump. I made that whole list. I went through the whole exercise. I imagined everything, and at the end of the day, I was like, it wasn't the model working for me. So for me, it's more about finding joy in what I'm doing. The bigger purpose thing and adding value stuff. I feel more driven by that. So that's why it changes for me. Although I still like the idea of, let's say, having my name against, let's say, I don't know, best-selling author, or having a million followers on YouTube or whatever. These things is still something I push for, but not in the sense of the lifestyle reflection.
See, okay, now let's say we broaden the spectrum, right? I think you're trying to, I think you get what I'm trying to say. Now, like you said, you want your name to be next to a best author or something like that, right?
Mhm.
The question is, are you doing something to make that happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, doing something to make that happen, okay, I think now we're going to get on the same page. When you're doing to make some when you're doing that one thing to make your name come next to the best or author or whatever it is, right? That hard work they go through to write the book and this and that and everything, are you doing that as well?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Right?
okay. Yeah. I get what you're saying. So
Yeah,
for that part, you need to see how much is the driving part. Are you matching the guy who's
exactly.
following?
That's what I'm coming down to.
So if for that, okay, there's okay, so everybody has their own ways of the journey part, which you mentioned, right? Everybody has their own self awareness part, and everybody has their own strength, weakness.
Yeah.
So for me, I realized that okay, I listened to Sampar or Shanpuri on the podcast, My First Million. They say a lot of stuff. I can't apply all of them, and I can't compare with them exactly. Remember, I mentioned to you as well that when you're comparing to a Joe Rogan or you're comparing to Dana White now, their work ethic compared to them when they were in the 20s, we don't know. I mean, you said you had a couple of examples from Tate's life, but for me, I don't have the reference point when they're in 20s what they were doing. Like, how was the ethic for them? So I have to go based on my gut feeling and, my basically my full potential. So I agree with you on the front that, that it's good to know what is the work ethic and know that, you're not doing enough or you are doing enough, in that sense. But I don't know if it's a fair metric to judge myself that I'm doing fair or not.
No, true. But the question comes down to, is a Shivank willing to go through shit to achieve what he wants? That is the question, to be very honest, to be very brutally put it out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, I'll tell you the model I followed that made me think, okay, am I good enough to live the life I want to live, right? So, for example, like I said, private jets, supercars, luxury villas, best of the best foods, cuisines, clothes, everything. I'm into materialistic stuff. I'm not going to say no, right? Maybe when I get there and I get, like people have told me that, when you make your money and you live that lifestyle, you're going to realize that it's not what you think it is. This and that doesn't matter. Let me live that life first, and then, I decided for myself that this is not for me. But the thing is, right? Yeah, of course, I understand value and legacy is what happens. So my question is, okay. Firstly, now I said we want to start a podcast. I want to DJ. I want to do boxing, and I want to do work, this and that. Do I have it in me to balance all this? I'm just giving a real life example, right? So the first question for now, let me put it in a checklist way for a general checklist, and then let me say how I did it for my personal stuff, right? So you can say this is a general checklist to know if you want to be someone who wants to make it or not. Now, the first point is, do I have it in me to take the stress, to go through shit, right? Two, do I have it in me to solve the problems once I go through it, right? Three, do I really want it? Is this something that I really want, right? Four, if I don't get this, what am I going to do? What is my alternative? If I don't really want this, if I don't, if I'm like, if I'm going through shit, what is my thought process going to be like? What is my option B, right? And the last point is, how long can I keep doing this for? What is the end goal of me doing this? Now, a lot of people don't have this clarity that they need, but if they ask these 5 questions to themselves consistently, I think it will shape up a purpose. Now, for example, I'll tell you how I used it. When I was in grade 11 and 12, I never had any clarity of what I wanted to become. Nothing. No clarity. But after grade 12, I only had one clarity. I want to live the best life. I want to have a lot of money. And how do I do that? I saw people who made it. They were called entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs. They had a strong work schedule. They had a different idea. I saw what attributes made a billionaire or a millionaire. Okay. These are the attributes. Now, do I have those attributes? Okay. These are the attributes I have. These are the attributes I don't have. Okay. The same attributes I have, is it common with the people who made it? Yes, it is. There's a video of Alex Hormozy which I showed you as well. He said the 3 things that makes sure that this individual is going to be successful, right? He said the first thing is, what did he say? He said the first thing is you have a superiority complex. You think that you're better than everyone. People who know me, and I mean, who've seen the podcast, know that when certain points when I say I'm very cocky about it, it's because I know my shit when I'm saying it. I have no, even now, when the way I'm saying it, it might sound cocky, but I know at certain things when it comes to
That's,
stuff, I'm better
that's
than
you
people.
in that's you in general. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
you.
me in general, right? And the second point is, am I insecure? Yes, I'm extremely insecure. I know for a fact that if I don't pull something off, people are going to judge me for it. Now, in reality, they might not. They might think, okay, Vignesh tried, Vignesh failed, it's okay. But in my mind, that failure is attached to who I am. If I don't succeed, then I'm fucked. My reputation is fucked. My whole confidence is fucked. That kind of stuff. And I think the third one, what did he say? It was superiority complex. You're insecure. What was the third point, Shiv? Do you remember?
I think it was something about. No, it's not about pushing. Forget it. I don't remember.
Shit, it was a very good.
Dude, you share some 15, 20 reels per week. How do you suppose expect to remember stuff?
No, I remember that because you asked me something as well. You were like, well, bro, I don't understand what he meant by the third point.
Which is why I don't remember it as well.
Nah, Shiv, you never remember anything. But the point is, yes, the point is there are few attributes that make a millionaire and a billionaire. The question is, okay, do I have it? Now, let me pertain this to my example, right? Now, am I good at communicating things? I'm getting there. I won't say I'm very good at it, but I'm saying I'm getting there and I'm able to say what I want to say clearly. I try not using the words and a lot, but if I do, I'm still working on it. I'm going to be honest about it. Two, do I have the willpower that it takes to make it? If I have to wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to do something, will I do it? Yes, I will. Right? Three, knowing that this is a problem which I don't have to take, this is a stress that I don't have to take, do I still want to go through that stress? Do I want to put myself in shitty situations just so I can challenge myself every fucking time? Yes, I do. Which leads to my next question. Do I love stress? I love stress. I love when I'm challenged and I'm put under the pump that, okay, if Vignesh doesn't do it, this thing is fucked. Can Vignesh pull it off? I think of myself as one of those main character in a movie. They say, right, main character energy or whatever. I think of myself as that. I'm like, okay, there are people. I'm Man of Steel here, Superman. Can I save that? Can I do it? If I don't, then I'm not who I think I was. But if I do, yeah, you can fucking respect me now. That kind of energy. Now, the thing is, do I put myself in situations where I can keep proving myself that I'm good enough? Can I keep learning, right? And the last point is, when things don't work well, am I the kind of guy that gives up? Or do I do every single thing I can to find a solution for it, right? I've asked these questions to myself and I saw, okay, these are the things I want to do. Even right now, I was telling you, right? There's a situation which I'm going, which I don't want to reveal. I will reveal it once things go well, right? So the thing is, I didn't have to take that problem, right? But if I solve that problem, it'll be a plus point for me because one, I'm going to get a lot of money from it, right? Two, it'll give me a good name. But the bigger societal thing is, it'll improve everyone else's life as well. It'll give them money. So this is a minus for me. If I make it my plus, it just doesn't become my plus. It becomes everyone else's plus as well. Like for example, Tate coming in and saying, masculinity doesn't exist, it's going down, this and that, I have to solve this problem, is a minus for him. But when he made it as plus, it just didn't make it plus for him, it made it plus for a lot of his followers, like 1 million followers or whatever it is, right? I know I'm giving a very wrong example here, but people people who understand, right? The point is, if you can make a minus of yours plus, and if it can make everyone else's minus plus as well at the same time, that means you're solving a bigger issue. That means you put yourself in a spot with high stress, high pressure, and the more you make your minuses your plus, it becomes society's plus. Take a president, for example. Now, he wants to say, okay, is me becoming a good president a plus for me or a minus? Okay, if I end up in shitty situation as one of the worst presidents to go down, then that's a minus for me. But if I become the best president, it's a plus for me, for my reputation, everything, right? That's his plus. Now, his plus is going to become the whole nation's plus because if he's a good president, then the citizens are going to have a good time. Be it economical value, be it your unemployment rates, be it your import export value, GDP, whatever it is. At the end of the day, if a president makes his minuses his plus, it becomes the people's plus as well. So the more problems you take, that is your more minuses, the more pluses it becomes. That's why, remember when we have this conversation, you said, bro, fuck, I don't want to take the kind of stress that you're taking because it's not for me. I'm happy to take these minuses, make it this plus. Yeah, it still helps people. It's not like it doesn't. But the question is, the more minuses you take for yourself and the more you try making it your plus, the better it becomes. But in the process of taking these minuses that you want to make your pluses, you have to see, do you have it in you to make that? So I can't just take a problem right now and say, okay, unemployment rate in Dubai is this much, I want to fix it. I don't have the energy to do that. I don't have the skills to pull that off. But the minuses that come up, like for example, in an organization right now, let's say they have a problem. They have a fund issue. They can't sustain. The company is gonna go bankrupt. Okay, fine. The company is gonna go bankrupt. Two options. One, I go down at the company as well. Or two, do I have it in me to change the situation? Okay. If I have to change the situation, what do I have to do? Okay, the company needs funds, company needs this, that, blah. Okay. Do I have it in me to bring that kind of business for the company to sustain? Yes or no? Yes, okay, fine. I have it in me. Do I want to take that stress of whatever time it takes for me to fix that company, of people coming and asking me, of the board members coming and asking me? Do I have it in me? So once it's all a yes, and you say, okay, you know what? No, that problem is my problem, right? I'm going to make sure I fix this. Now, if you fix that, you save the company from everything. The people are going to come and respect you. That's how you earn your god status or your legend status, right? People become superstars, people become gods, people become extraordinary individuals because of the problem they solve, because of the minuses they take. Take, for example, any sport you want. Let's take basketball. A Michael Jordan, right? He said, you know what? My team is going to go this. I'm going to take that special this thing, make sure people do this kind of training, that, this, and that. He put in his effort. He made sure the right people were recruited for the team. And now look at that. He ended up being a legend because his team won a lot of cups. And of course, his individual performance was going up because he realized that if I don't perform well, that's a minus for me. But if I perform well, it's a plus for me. At the same time, that's a plus for the team as well, right? He put himself through that ringer to make it. Take swimming, take cricket, take football, take any sport. When someone says, you know what, I want to make sure this particular larger issue is a minus, I have the power to make it a plus, it becomes a greater plus.
So the minus and plus concept, do you think is similar to the gap part which we normally speak about? So let's say when you said something about the company and then the company went down in the investor part, right? There's a gap. Technically, there's a gap that the money is not coming to the company.
Yes,
And
yes,
you are trying to fill that gap and you
exactly.
take everything on it. So the gap can be a very big gap. The gap can be as small as, let's say, someone from your office who I don't know, like who needs to have something and you can't get it, and you fix that small thing for that person.
True.
You're saying that the bigger the gap, the more the stress, and that's how this whole thing changes. It changes
Exactly.
the whole game.
So the point I'm trying to make here is you found the gap, you know how big it is, you know you can solve it. The situation is in your hand to solve it, but are you capable enough?
Okay. So there's one capable is one part though. Second part is, do I want that in the first place as well? Because
No.
I have to choose.
I'll tell you this. You want to become a footballer.
Mhm.
You want to become as good as Cristiano Ronaldo. But
Yeah.
are you capable of that? Is the question.
Okay, so let's say you have three different gaps, three massive gaps. One is, let's say, like the three extremely big gaps you can fix. You still have to choose one of those, right? You can't just you don't have
Exactly.
the time
So
and money.
you choose a gap which you're more capable of solving.
Okay, okay. Let's imagine you're capable of solving all three, but you
Then
have
solve
to.
all three. Then if you think, you know what, I'm capable of solving all three, I can do this, then plan and do it.
So this is where you and I are different in sense of taking the stress part, cause
Exactly.
because you will be like, I'll go all three. I will like, what's my ecosystem like? Okay, I have this company part, which I told you the ecosystem concept, right? Company part is here. Then I'm doing the Instagram stuff, which is like whatever I learn from the company comes to Instagram, and then the podcast thing as well from the company and the books I read. Everything I do needs to be in one ecosystem. I don't need to put extra effort for anything. So if the bubble is part of that, the gap is part of that, I'll do everything. But for me, I don't want that much, that many gaps. I'm fine with one gap filling and whatever I get out of it. Maybe you want that extreme stuff. You have that extreme motivation in that sense. So I'm fine with leaving the other parts away, but I want to focus on one because I'll be happy fixing one and doing it
Exactly.
perfectly. Then
There's nothing wrong with that because you had that conversation with yourself saying, okay, I have three gaps right now. Do I want to go through that pressure of solving the three gaps? No, I do not. Because why? Because it'll spoil this, that for me. So I'm
yeah,
just going to focus on this particular gap and live happily in it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because see, that's making you happy,
yeah.
right? At the same time, it's giving you that peace of mind. Now, I can't do that.
Mm.
I'm in a different. For me, it's like if I know there's a gap that exists and I know I have the capability of solving it, I cannot sleep at night.
Which is what I don't want. Let's say if I have three gaps, I choose one, and I know I've done everything on that part for that day. I can sleep peacefully. That's what it matters for me.
Exactly. For me, it's a different thing, right? It's like saying Vignesh knows he can finish all those three tasks, but he's choosing to limit himself to just choose one because he doesn't want to push himself to fix the other two because he's a pussy. That's how I talk to myself. I'm just telling you the conversation I have for myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, why would Vignesh want to do that? Even I think we had a conversation that day as well. Do we want to put an episode every day or do we want to put it every 2 days once? Now, the thought process I had was if I put this every day, it's nice. It's like I've pushed myself to the limit, I'm happy. But you said, bro, efficiently, it's better if we do it this way because we can do this and that. Now, we had that conversation, but I'm just giving you a bigger example of things that see. That's why I'm saying that a lot of different individuals they need to have the conversation with themselves. Like I said, now if I'm a Shivank, I see three different problems. I know for a fact I'm happy dealing with one problem, finishing it off, making sure everybody from that problem is saved, everything is fine. Okay, it's all done.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Shivank, I'm looking at three problems. I know I can solve all three problems, even though in the back of my mind I know I can only solve one and sleep peacefully. But something in me says, I want to do all three, but your body doesn't let you do all three because you don't want to do it.
So there's one more element which you're missing. It's not like you are the only person in this world trying to fill the gaps. There might be, let's say, if you have three problems, if you don't do fill the gap, there might be someone else who can step up as well. You are considering a scenario where there's no one else in this world and you're the Superman, right? I mean, that's the word you're talking about.
That's why you think you are better than people, right? That's why I said, see, that's why Alex Hormozzi's video gave me a kind of a sense of relief because when I used to think, okay, you know what, I'm better than people, I used to think, am I being too cocky or am I being too arrogant? Because everybody has their own thing. I can't say I'm better than people. I used to think that.
Yeah.
But for a guy, let's say, I'm not saying this is me. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
For a person who has a disciplined life, who wakes up at 5 a.m., who does what work he wants to do, he reads his books, does everything he has to do, finishes his work, takes off all the world's problems, solves it, comes back and sleeps at 9. And then you have this motherfucker who wakes up at fucking 12 p.m., right? Doesn't do jack shit, and then sleeps at 9 p.m. And if he wants to compare himself to me, then no. I'm going to tell him, listen, bitch, I'm better than you. And if people come and tell me, no, you're not, this and that, I'll be like, fuck you. I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the input that needs to be, put to get the output I need. If someone else who doesn't put the output victimizes themselves and just comes and tells me, oh, you know what, it doesn't happen to me because I have this problem, that problem. No, don't come and fucking compare yourself to me then. Because I'm in the mentality that, okay, no matter what, I'm not going to question myself saying, oh, why is this happening to me? Instead, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going through this shit because I'm being tested. You know what? Let me come out of this at the top.
So this part I agree. Like this is how the mindset should be like.
No,
but now we're deviating a bit from the idea of having three.
I'm telling you. I'm coming back to it. I'll tell you how. Now, the point I'm trying to say is so people don't understand. Okay, why this guy thinks he's better than people.
Okay.
This is just an explanation. Now, coming back to the Alex Hormozzi's model, I know I can solve all three. I know I have it in me. Now, if I solve all three, will I become the best person out there? Yes. Like I said, I see myself as a man of steel. Like I told you that scene, right? Exactly that. If people who are watching this, if you go watch the terraforming scene in Man of Steel, it's like the gravitational machine is pushing everything on Superman right now. He's going through extreme shit, and there's the music, hands him, everything, right? He's going through shit. And everyone else is just holding their hand. They're doing their part. But at the end, they know that, okay, this is way beyond us. All we can do right now is pray and hold each other's hands. Let's pray to God Superman saves us. Now, Superman does not hold someone else and says, okay, hopefully Batman says, no. He says, you know what? I have the power to take this on. Yes, I have to go through shit for that. I have to get fucking stamped on for that, but doesn't matter. I will go through that shit. I will solve it. I will save the people. Same thing with me. I see these three problems. I know for a fact there might be two other people coming and solving it, but do I have the capability to solve all these three problems in the best possible way? Yes, I do. If I do that, will people get saved because of me? Yes, it saves a lot of people time. You know what? Let's fucking do it. Same thing with...
There's a difference though when you mentioned the comparison of a guy who doesn't do jack shit and then he compares with you. That is completely different. Right now, what you're saying is you, or anyways, you're anyways in the routine, but you doing 3 times more in that routine. So this is a different comparison now because Yeah, so you
Good.
see, like, there's a difference.
So
So
this
right
is
now,
this
let's
is
say if I am here,
your Elon Musk.
correct. So Elon Musk versus any other billionaire who's still fine, but Elon Musk is like crazy, in his own ways.
Yeah, it's like how Mark Cuban looks up to Elon Musk and we look up to Mark Cuban. We're like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah. So in their own ways, everybody is fine in that sense. But the fire, how extreme of fire it is, and how
Exactly.
much you want to take that is the difference.
Exactly. So that for you to realize that, you need to question yourself is my whole point of this
Yeah.
podcast. So for to see, so if you have to summarize this, we can say for the amount of tasks or amount of fire you have inside you, you have to see what lifestyle pushes me. Do I have to take three problems or do I have to take one problem? What can I solve the best? You know what? I have the capability of taking all three problems. Let's fucking do it. Because that's how motivated I am, you can say. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to put down people who say, you know what, I am motivated enough, but I can only do one.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Do it. Right? No, I'm not saying you're worse or nothing like that, right?
Yeah.
You're still doing what you're doing. And
Yeah.
you're making sure that one problem is fucking you're the best one to solve that. Not
Yeah.
saying no. But at the same time, you're able to sleep a bit more peaceful than I am. Because right now, the kind of shit I'm doing right now, I'm pushing myself in so many different things. Now, it's not like I don't want to be that guy who's jack of all trades, master of none. No.
Hmm.
Here, this is more like I am a master of all these three things. I can solve all these three things with the highest fucking capability. Let's fucking do it. Yeah, because of that, I might not have a social life. I might not have this. I might not have that. Fuck it. Let's fucking go to the ringer. That's
Yeah.
who I am, right? And
Yeah.
what is the output I'm expecting out of that? Okay, I know that, okay, if I solve all these three problems, once it's solved, they're going to look at Vignesh like a savior who came and saved.
Yeah. So did
I
you
know that's the output.
develop with you over the time, or this checklist which you mentioned earlier covers all of these part like since the beginning?
So this is a conversation I had with myself after university, right? I tried working in my dad's business under my dad, and I said, you know what, let me just try and let me live that life where people don't give a shit.
Hmm.
I want to live that life, I'm not going to give a shit. No motivation, no drink, nothing. Let me see. I was screaming in the car every day, Shiv. I was screaming, I was breaking things I couldn't do. I was like, this is not who I am. I am meant to be conquering fucking worlds. At least that's what I'm thinking in my head, right?
Hmm.
How am I going to do it? I'm not going to be able to do it sitting here. What do I do? It was eating me alive. So then I had that conversation with myself saying, you know what? I'm made for something bigger. I can solve any issues. I just have to get that experience and, go through the ringer. So any company I've been with right now, people can go check it. I'm very confident about it. You can
Hmm.
go talk to my managers or my CEOs at that point. Because at that time I had managers and stuff, so I can talk to them. But right now, you can ask my CEOs or you can ask my board members. They'll tell you this guy, give him a problem, and not even give him, just show him a problem and tell him what do you think we can do. He will make sure that he solves it on his own, or he can find people to solve it, and make sure this is done with the best, efficient, and optimized way ever.
I think it develops over time as well, because
It develops over time because you get that confidence that you know what, I can do it.
yeah.
Because remember this question which I said you should ask yourself, am I capable of enough of doing it? Now there are two kinds of people who answer that question. One, I'm not capable enough, so I'm not going to do it.
Hmm.
Two, I'm not capable enough, but I'm going to put my fucking feet inside the water, see what happens. Let me swim through it. If the currents are going to be hard, fuck it, let me do it. Now,
Yeah.
those kind of people, like I said, you can have a dream. I wanted to become an international swimmer. I thought I was capable of doing it. In the due process, I understood that I was not capable of doing it. But you have to be self-aware as to when to let your dreams go and when to stick to it. Because now, if you know in your back of your mind that you know what, you're not good enough for this, there's no shame in admitting that you're not, because that means you might be better enough for something else. Is it a helicopter? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I know is a job
So yeah.
opportunity.
So basically, that's the point. The point is you need to know if you're good enough at something or not. Like I said, you have to answer the questions to yourself. I can't help you there. You know yourself better. But a core characteristics of yours will not tell you, okay, am I capable of that? No. But do I want to make myself capable enough to solve an issue like that in the future? You know what? I do. Let's go through the fucking ringer.
Yeah.
I want to play football. Okay. Do I want to be good enough the next time I come and beat the shit out of someone? Nah, I don't care about football. Okay.
Yeah,
Box.
these are smaller pieces of self-awareness you're talking about. Like, these are like small things you think and you
Everything. See, an established individual or a sophisticated individual is very self-aware about who they are.
yeah.
And this is the kind of learning that you have throughout your life till you die.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like even if you're old, let's say for example, you're thinking you're like, okay, I'm not able to move, but I'm not capable enough to move. But do I want to try, or do I just sit and say, fuck it, I'm not good enough? You know what? Let me try. And then you try moving your body, and you realize, oh fuck, I'm not capable enough to move. But you've tried. That's
Yeah.
the whole point. That mindset keeps happening till you die. So yeah, a key summary would be talk to yourself, analyze if you're good enough, analyze what kind of a person you are, highly motivated, mildly motivated, not that motivated, right? Talk to yourself, and no matter which spectrum you fall under, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the choice you make, you can sleep peacefully with it. Like for example, if Shiv
There's
can
the yeah, extreme example. Then I got something. I have last example I have to share.
No, I just want to say, like, the point is you should be taking decisions that can keep you, happy, because at the end of the day, if you just want to solve one problem, sleep peacefully. But if you want to solve three problems, sleep peacefully. Don't
Yeah.
complain that, okay, I've taken this, I'm not good enough. That's the whole point I was trying to make.
I have another circle example. I mean, this is from the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, where it's a trait basically about a human being. He mentions that there's one circle, okay, which is about the circle of concern. Okay, the other circle is circle of the effort you can put to get out of it. Normally, what happens is that the circle of concern is so big that the effort is very small inside. The concern when the concern is so big, nothing will happen. And when the effort goes bigger than the circle of concern, things start shaping up. So what he mentions by that is that even though, let's say, you face a problem, or if you want to grow or whatever comes in with life, if your effort part is bigger, concern will anyways go away. So that's the whole idea of once you're aware about certain stuff. Let's say the example Vignesh gave about the old man not able to move. That's the concern sitting over there. He can think the whole day, you know what, I'm fucked. There's nothing I can do. There's no point. I can't even move. What's the whole point of it? I could have done this, done that. All concerns. But the moment he thinks from the angle of effort, like, you know what? Let me try moving my leg a bit. He can see it moving. Every day he keeps it moving, and some that effort becomes so big over time that he's walking again. So that whole idea helps you push through, because it can happen. It's just that your concern is so much that is overshadowing your whole effort.
I think this will give people a clear idea as to who is more refined by reading books and who's just fucking learning everything on the fucking street.
Fine, bro. Wherever you consume, at least you can
Yeah,
filter it.
as long as see, the thing is, I would have never known about concern and effort, right? But the example was the fucking. But yeah, I think that's how we want to conclude this episode. So question yourself, see what you think you're good at, what you're not good at. Come in terms with your capabilities and your efficiency, and live a happy life. That's the point. Yeah. Peace out,
See you
guys.
guys in the next one.